Western India. Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. The rest of India, whether you go to Karnataka and you may be a charitable or religious trust or you are in Tamil Nadu in Chennai, they have the Endowment Act in all the southern states. But there is no office of the Charity Commissioner. There are endowment officers for temple trusts, at least I know of that being there in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, because I've dealt with those cases in the past. But coming to our point, this law, section 58, has been around since 1950. And under this particular provision, the Charity Commissioner is allowed to levy this contribution, the word contribution is used, up to 5% of your gross total income or gross total receipts. Our deductions came if you have any activity which is in the nature of education, medical relief, veterinary treatment of animals, relief during natural disaster, etc. There is a list of those deductions you can claim. So there is a schedule 9C under which all those deductions are taken by please come. And that's how it is. You can take those deductions. Also, if from within the state you have received some inter-charity donations, those also need not be counted for the purpose of income. So all those deductions are available. But this also applies to temple trusts, churches, waqafs, whosoever is registered with the Charity Commissioner's office, this is applicable. Now, sometime around 1982, Salvation Army had challenged this matter. And thanks to that particular case, contribution was reduced from 5% to 2%. Now fast forward there, for years people continued to pay this 2%. And I think we took it as a matter of fact, like we pay our taxes, we said, chalo, charity tax to the state government. We used to do that. Then a law came into this country, a very good one, which was called the Right to Information Act in 2005. Some public-spirited individuals, largely from his community, did an RTI application. And they found that the CC's department was sitting over some 248 crores of rupees. Roughly to that figure, that is what I recollect, 248 crores. So this matter, thanks to the RTI application, we figured that this department is sitting over so much money. So next was the PI. What do we intend to do with it? There was no convincing answer from the CC's department. What they intended to do with this 248 crores of rupees sitting with them, including so many crores in FDAs, etc. So since then, the year 2009, the Bombay High Court was pleased to grant a stay order that till such time as they exhaust all this and they have a very clear plan, nothing can happen. Now 16 years have gone by. So literally more than a generation has passed. So many are even wondering, what is this contribution? I contacted a few people yesterday. What is this? I said, this has been around even before I was born, 1950. Section 58 has been around since 1950. And CC is allowed to charge up to 5%. Thanks to Salvation Army, it got reduced to 2%. And thanks to this PI by our friends here, we had a stay order for 16 long years. Now it has come to hit us. Question is, do we pay this? Of course you have to pay this, because if you will read the High Court order very carefully, it says Section 58 has not been challenged. Very clearly it says, it has not been challenged. If the Charity Commissioner's department has a clear plan, what they want to do with it. The thing is, this is typical only to Maharashtra state. Gujarat has a similar law. In fact, this act is of 1950. When there was a Bombay presidency, there was no Maharashtra and Gujarat.
Right.
So there was a Bombay Public Trust Act, which later became Maharashtra Public Trust Act. Gujarat still follows the Bombay Public Trust Act. They kind of call it Gujarat Public Trust Act, but it's largely, they have not officially changed the nomenclature. But there is something good in Gujarat. It is 2% of your gross total income or receipts, subject to the upper limit of 50,000 only. Now that's excellent. That's excellent. So even the biggest trust will say, my liability is 50,000. Also remember, this money is collected from your charitable contributions for the upkeep of the State Department, which, pardon my saying it, is far from friendly with us. If those who have fortunately or unfortunately dealt with the department, I will not name that gentleman, he is in the room, but he is saying whenever he has to go in that department, he likes going there because he is able to accomplish all his work sitting on his laptop over there, because the CC takes his own sweet time to see him. So even I, unfortunately, on the few occasions when I had to be in the department, my entire day would be wasted. That's what I've seen. So we pay this contribution for what? Are we getting the services that we need? I am afraid not. Simple things like change reports. I know that I run an organization which is a Section 8 company. If my board member changes, like a resignation is there, I scan a copy of the resignation letter, put it up with the resolution, etc. on the ROC's website, and in real time, the change is effected. In real time, that moment. Come to Charity Commissioner, try to file an online application. Then there is a hearing. Sometimes they give me an affidavit. And sometimes over a year is lost. Sometimes the order is passed, but the schedule 1 doesn't change. Are we paying 2% contribution for this kind of service? I don't mean to be disrespectful. I am giving a feedback. Are we getting our money's worth? And therefore, I think I have said a bit too much. Before I get more emotional than I already have, I will stop here because I would like Viren Bhai and others also to have their say in this regard. So Viren Bhai, over to you to decide who is the next speaker. Thank you very much.
So nice of you, Roshir, to give us an insight of your understanding about this topic and your experiences with the Office of Charity. But we have with us the young representatives who had filed the original writ petition. Girish Bhai is there, Atulbhai is there. I would request one of you to please give us an insight and your experiences of how it all drew down to this level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This Association for Protection of
Atulbhai, although he is very knowledgeable, is a chartered accountant. So
yeah, okay. Thank you.
Don't think he is a monk, he is what he is not.
No, it is said in our religious text that Dharmadvanse Kriya Lope Swa Siddhantartha Viplave Apruste Napi Satyena Bhaktavyam Tam Nisedhitum. मतलब जब भी धर्म का ध्वंस होता है, क्रिया का लोप होता है, या तो सिद्धांत का विप्लव होता है, तभी जिनको जीवन भर का मौन है उनको भी पब्लिक में आके अपनी बात रखनी चाहिए. एंड दैट इज व्हाट मिस्टर नूसी हैज बीन डूइंग with his all emotions. I really appreciate the association also for protection of public trusts and charities, that every time when I attend, I feel honored, even if not on the dais of the dais, but always some good subject and very healthy discussions. It is said in our Sanskrit Subhasit that amantram aksaram nasti, nasti mulam anusadam. अयोग्य पुरुषो नास्ति योजकस्तत्र दुर्लभ. मतलब ऐसा कोई अक्षर नहीं जिससे मंत्र नहीं बनता है, ऐसा कोई मूली नहीं जिसमें से दवाई औषध नहीं बनता है, ऐसा कोई पुरुष नहीं है जिसमें से आप वर्च्यूज नहीं देख सकते. देन व्हाट इज लैकिंग? लैकिंग इज योजकस्तत्र दुर्लभ. आयोजन करता के दुर्लभता है. आई एम थैंकफुल टू यू दैट यू हैव raised this question, which was very important, because as now government is going to come out with a circular that whether 2% is to be charged or 5% is to be charged. Of course, High Court order has given us an liberty that you can come to us anytime if you are offended, because that time we were not given chance of being heard. एक साथ में उस दिन सीजे ने डिसाइड किया कि जितनी भी ओल्ड पिटिशन से हमको सब डिस्पोज ऑफ करना है. वी सेड यू जस्ट ट्राई टू लिसन अस. No, there is no time. It is 2007, 40 by 2007. That was our case number. And since then we have been on 29th September 2009, we got this stay order of 2%, not to pay this 2%. So I was just counting, as he said, that there are now 5 lakhs. That time it was 7,05,000 trusts. And we went to the Law Commission chairman, 15th Law Commission chairman with Mr. Mangal Babaji Loda. He said, आपके ट्रस्टों के पास 1.25 लाख करोड़ रुपया है और आपके मंदिर के भगवान को पैसे की क्या जरूरत है, आप हमको दे दो. महाराष्ट्र स्टेट को, दिस इज द इंटरनल, उनकी माइंड में ये बात चल रही है. यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड, आप समझ सकते हैं. एक बार तो चैरिटी कमीशन ने एक ऐसा सर्कुलर निकाला, यू वुड बी सरप्राइज. ही सेड दैट मैरिज ऑफ जो भी शेतकरी कामगार खेडूत है उनका शादी है, इट इज अ रिलीजियस एक्टिविटी एंड यू आर सपोज टू पे सम अमाउंट फ्रॉम योर ट्रस्ट टू दिस मैरिज फंक्शंस. Our one Chandrapur Jain Trust paid 5 crores rupees. I just phoned Mr. Mangal Babaji Loda that this is something beyond our understanding. He said, you come to Charity Commissioner office. He raised the objection to the Charity Commissioner. Sir, we have objects of our trust and your work is to see that whether we are working as per our objects or not. You can't tell us to contribute this to some Phalana board or some Wakaf board, or you give this much amount to. Once upon a time they came with a circular कि जितनी भी डायलिसिस मशीन है हॉस्पिटल्स में उसमें चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट को पैसा भरना पड़ेगा. सिंस द केस वॉज ऑलरेडी देयर एंड वी मेड एन एफिडेविट. जैसे मुझे बताया गया था कि आप आरटीआई करेंगे तो आपके ऊपर तकलीफ आएगा. मैंने बोला जो भी तकलीफ आएगा. 28 ऑफिस वर देयर इंक्लूडिंग दिस अवर वर्ली ऑफिस. I made 56 RTIs in 2007-8. I'm saying. First of all, Girish Bhai is sitting on the dais. They had filed case in 2004. Thereafter, one Mr. Himmat Bhai Gandhi, he came with a Salvation Army India case. 75 में Salvation Army India का केस आया है कि आपका जो ये चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट का एक्ट है 1950 वाला, उसके प्रीएम्बल में लिखा है, इट इज रिटन वेरी क्लियरली दैट दे आर सपोज, बिकॉज दे कैन नॉट टैक्स एनी इनकम ट्वाइस. इनकम टैक्स इज ऑलरेडी देयर. So they use the word cess, C-E-S-S, instead of tax, because they can't tax any income twice. So they changed the word. But that was, introduction was in the preamble of that act, that they can collect this only for the purpose of their office expenditure. And office expenditure was what? I came to know that it was around 8 to 10 lakh crores per year. They don't have any balance sheet at the charity commissioners. They have only income and expenditure because that is combined with the state government's total accounts. So we told them that you have 155 crores initially. Thereafter it went up to 550 crores because people were not aware of this particular judgment and stay order and they were just paying. आपका जितना कंट्रीब्यूट, हमारे मंदिर में तो प्रतिष्ठा होती है 20 करोड़ 40 करोड़ 50 करोड़ का इनकम होता है, तो सीधा 2% में 10 करोड़ आप भर दो. बिकॉज एजुकेशन और हॉस्पिटल वगैरह का जो भी एग्जाम्शन निकालने के बाद में जो बचता है कंट्रीब्यूशन, उसके ऊपर आपको 2% भर देना पड़ता है. तो वी वेंट टू द सेइंग दैट आपका जो सैल्वेशन आर्मी इंडिया का केस है उसमें क्लियर लिखा है कि मेनी ईयर्स दे हैड चेंज दिस टू 0% बिकॉज दे वर नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू पे कलेक्ट एनी अमाउंट. But thereafter it came to average 2% since so many years. But they are supposed to issue circular every year. That is compulsory for them. That unless and until they issue circular. So since last 16 years from the date of stay order, they have not issued any circular. But luckily, when the order came in our hand, it was not heard. But we had filed our affidavits. एक बार उन्होंने बोला कि हमको तो बहुत पैसा चाहिए, 10 करोड़ रुपया का जेरोक्स मशीन लेना है. तो हमने गूगल में से देखा कि 10,000 रुपया का एक मशीन आता है, तो हमने बोला 800 मशीन आपको किधर लगेगा. 800 मशीन दैट वी हैव पुट इन आवर रिजोइंडर एफिडेविट में लिखा है. एंड द जज वाज सो स्ट्रिक्ट. ही सेड यू कॉल द सेक्रेटरी फ्रॉम फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट नेक्स्ट ईयर. ही वाज प्रेजेंट दैट टाइम एंड he was told that how you are collecting this amount, you are, as it is for the services. एंड आप चेंज रिपोर्ट देखो 8 साल 10 साल 15 साल वो सब बीच के ऑर्डर में आया हुआ है कि since you are not providing the services effectively, where is the right to collect all this amount. Luckily, as Mr. Nosir has said, that there is a 50,000. First of all, we should give example of other states except these four, that there are no taxes. For example, if we go to the property tax department, they don't charge us any tax for the department. See, that expense is being borne by the state government itself. Why should they collect this amount from trust? ट्रस्ट के पास जो देखो सरकार का क्या काम है, चाणक्य की अर्थनीति शास्त्र में एक श्लोक है, दुष्टस्य दंड सुजनस्य सेवा अपक्षपातो रिपु राष्ट्र रक्षा न्यायन कोशस्य च संप्रवृत्ति पंचेव यज्ञ कथितम नृपाणाम। राजा का 5 कर्तव्य है, दुष्टों को दंड देना, दुष्टता कम होती है, सज्जनों का सम्मान करना, सज्जनता बढ़ती है, नो पार्शियलिटी, किसी को टैक्स लगाओ किसी को मत लगाओ मंदिर उनकी यात्रा के लिए, ऐसा नहीं करो, सभी के लिए एक सलीका, एंड न्यायन को सच्च संप्रवृत्ति। ये 10 रुपया का पेन है, आप मानेंगे इसमें से 8.85 सब मिला के बाद में देखेंगे 7 से 8% तो टैक्सेशन है। दे कैन कलेक्ट ओनली 16.66%, 1/6। दैट वाज अवर राजा का कर्तव्य क्या है, न्याय से कोष की वृद्धि करना। एंड व्हाट दिस पीपल आर चार्जिंग अस 2%। कभी भी आप बस देते ही रहो और मन में आए तभी आप कोई भी सर्कुलर निकालो। और जैसे हमको अभी लुधिया साहब यहाँ पे बैठे, उन्होंने बढ़ा कि जब हम जाते हैं बैठने के लिए जगह भी नहीं है, पूरा दिन जाता है, एज यू सेड, एंड सो मेनी थिंग्स। आपको कभी चैरिटी कमिश्नर के ऑफिस में अटेंड करना है तो हमारे सीए बोलते हैं कि भाई एडवोकेट अटेंड करना पड़ेगा, लाना पड़ेगा, 1 लाख, 1.25 लाख, 1.5 लाख रुपया को उनका फीस लगेगा। छोटी बात है, आपको कुछ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में अमेंडमेंट करना है, you need to have an advocate to attend the charity commission office. This is something too much. अभी उन्होंने कोर्ट में एक अच्छा जजमेंट में लिखा हुआ है कि if at all if you are offended and if you feel that this 2% or 4% or 5% is not up to the mark or not as per the required। अच्छा, बीच में एक बार ऐसा हुआ, उन्होंने क्या किया, हमको पता चला कि ये हमारे पास इतनी फिक्स डिपॉजिट है, इसके लिए I was told that if you file a petition you will be thrown out because ये काम देनु गाई है, गवर्नमेंट का पैसा कभी रुकता नहीं है, and court also will definitely favor them। but हमने सोचा कि let us try करने में क्या तकलीफ है। and our advocate Mr. प्रफुल्ल शाह was there, he fought since last 16 years without charging a single penny। 16 साल में कम से कम 59 टाइम्स तो मैं ये कोर्ट में, हाई कोर्ट में ये केस के लिए गया हूँ, बिकॉज एवरी टाइम कुछ ना कुछ नया आता रहता है। एक बार कोर्ट ने बोला कि कोर्ट ने पूछा चैरिटी कमिश्नर को, आप आए हैं, बिकॉज दे मेड सेपरेट एप्लीकेशंस 2011, 14, 16, 17, इवन 2022 ऑल्सो दे मेड एप्लीकेशन कि सर हमारे पास पैसा नहीं है। एंड व्हाट दे डिड दैट दे स्पेंट ऑल द मनी। जैसे वर्ली का ऑफिस है तो हमको 50 करोड़ में नया ऑफिस यहाँ लेना है, तो वी हैड मेड एन एप्लीकेशन दैट यू शो अस द सैंक्शन ऑफ ऑल दिस एक्सपेंसेस। आप 28 ऑफिस का जो खर्च कर रहे हैं कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर के लिए, तो you show us whether these expenses have been approved by the state government or not। This was asked in the court of law and आप पता नहीं 550 करोड़ में से अभी बोल रहे 500 करोड़ हमने खर्च कर दिया है, तो 500 करोड़ में से अभी 50 करोड़ रुपया जो है वो बचा है। एंड वी हैव सो मेनी अदर एक्सपेंसेस ऑल्सो विथ अस, सो प्लीज़ पे ऐसा करके अभी आप बोल रहे। मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ वीरेन भाई, आपने ये अच्छा सब्जेक्ट लिया है, आपके हिसाब से जब ये इनकम टैक्स लॉ में चेंजेस आए तभी हम लोग बांद्रा में गए थे, और बांद्रा इनकम टैक्स ऑफिस में जब प्रेजेंटेशन करना था तो हमारी मुंबई जैन संघ संगठन की ओर से हमने प्रेजेंटेशन किया। लकीली ऑल द अमेंडमेंट्स विच वी एक्सपेक्टेड दे केम, दे मेड ऑल द इन द सेम वे। वी शुड गो टू, बिकॉज एज यू सेड दैट वी नेवर चैलेंज द 58। तो एक भरूच स्वामी वात्सल्य का केस है 1958 का, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का है। हमारे जैन लोगों ने, हमारे मुनि भगवंतों ने कोर्ट में जाके ये केस लड़ा हुआ है, और उसमें लिखा है कि धर्म के ऊपर, धर्म करने के लिए कभी टैक्स होता है क्या? रिलीजियस के लिए टैक्स नहीं होना चाहिए।
Sir, even our constitution says the same.
Yes,
Article 26 says that there is not going to be any tax on the amount contributed for maintenance and functioning of your religious activity. It is a fundamental right. This is on very much on this. We have an exemption for anonymous donation.
Yes, it is there.
For religious trust, the foundation of it is this.
Yes.
And in fact, even in the present, what you just mentioned, the JPC, Joint Parliamentary Committee, also accepted our stand.
Yes, sir.
For religious and charitable trust.
There is a big commentary of that time, what were discussed during in the Lok Sabha that time. उसमें क्लियरली लिखा हुआ है कि रिलीजियस दे हैव राइट टू प्रोटेक्ट प्रीच एंड प्रोपेगेंट देयर रिलीजन इन देयर ओन मैनर. दे यू कांट कम इन बिटवीन एंड टेल अस कि भाई आप इतना टैक्स भरो, ये करो, वो करो. तो फिर कल अभी एनोनिमस डोनेशन पे नहीं है, बट उनका ध्यान उसी के ऊपर है कि कब उसके ऊपर टैक्स लेना चालू करे. दे आर सपोज टू चार्ज एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, बिकॉज अभी आया था, निकल गया है लकीली. लेकिन मैं इतना ही कहता हूँ लास्ट में कि हमको पहले स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को बोलना चाहिए कि भाई जैसे आप लेबर डिपार्टमेंट है, प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट है, देर यू डोंट चार्ज एनी टैक्स फॉर रनिंग योर ऑफिसेस. और इसमें आपको मिलता कितना पैसा है? फॉर एग्जांपल आपका खर्चा 10 करोड़ है, तो 65,000 करोड़ का तो बीएमसी का बजट है. आप 10 करोड़ 20 करोड़ नहीं खर्च कर सकते. वाई आर यू creating 28 offices, so many staff, so many expenditure? You just remove this department first of all, and if at all you are not removing this department, then apply Gujarat model. For example, subject to maximum 50,000, 2% or 50,000, whichever is higher. Maximum is 50,000. But so that means we should come forward for this particular, and it should be now. Because court has given us a liberty that if you are offended, that you can come to us again. So if they are not accepting our request, then we should go to court against by saying that, see, the total expenditure, I have RTS of so many files I have with me. I have all the expenditure list of state charity commissioners department, even for last 3 years, 23-24 and 24-25, latest 3 years I have got all the expenditures. But it is, और उनके पास जो फिक्स डिपॉजिट्स है वो आप कल्पना भी नहीं कर सकते. अभी नाउ इट इज़ रिड्यूस बिकॉज दे हैव स्पेंट ऑल द मनी टू बाय द कैपिटल एसेट्स. बट माई रिक्वेस्ट टू द एसोसिएशन इज दैट वी शुड गो टू फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर. इवन Mr. Fadnavis, when we came to our Acharya Vagunai Padma Sagar ji Maharaj, our Jitos, very active member is here. He knows that he came, he said, okay, I will look into the matter. If this person is harming your charitable trust, we will see to it in the government, but it should be reminded to them through our such a big organization. If we remind them, first option, just remove this. Second option, apply Gujarat model. Third option, we will again go to court and challenge your contribution, because this way you can't tell the trust. And I think we should try our level best to defend this case. And since they have not come out with the latest circular, but I am damn sure that they will charge 5%, because that is 2% to 5%. दे विल से कि हमको बहुत खर्चा हुआ है और हमारा बहुत खर्चा बाकी है करने का, तो मिनिमम तो 5% लगने वाला है. लकी उसमें इतना हम नसीबदार है, वी आर लकी दैट दे कैन नॉट चार्ज अस रेट्रोस्पेक्टिवली. दे सेड दैट नो रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव टैक्स you can collect. 2% cess you can't collect from 2009 to 2025, which was their inner demand. He requested the court that 1% कम से कम हमको 1% लेने को दीजिए, but court said no, you have enough money, we can't give us any liberty. With subject to this, I think we should come forward, go to the state government and request them. Even in Gujarat, our advocates have advised us that for this 50,000 also, you can go to Chief Minister or Finance Department and request them to remove this amount. So that can be removed if we have got enough acquaintance. Our learned people are there, acquaintance with the department is also there. So we can go to them. And Mangal Babaji Lodha, he is also always available, and he can take us to the Chief Minister also. So anytime, next time, whatever this memorandum is there, we should sign, everybody should agree. Thank you very much for kind invitation. Thank you very much.
So nice, Atulbhai, to give your tremendous insight on this subject. One question, which comes out of, what you were just mentioning, that you have so much of RTI data with you.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea as to what is the total income of the trust on for the entire state of Maharashtra, which is liable to contribution in terms of the total 1,000 crore, 10,000 crore, or 50,000 crore? What is the total amount?
No, but we just counted our Jain Trust's contribution. That was 39 crores. So you multiply that 250 by 50. 2% was 39 crores per annum that time.
This is for
2000. 1 year. Yeah. Of course, yes, 13% population of total Jains are in Maharashtra. So maximum income is in Maharashtra.
Yes, but
and even for Mumbai, we have 150 big temples, Sikhar Bandi Jinale,
correct.
and they are always having income crores, 3 crores every year. Minimum 2 crores, 3 crores, 5 crores. And if any function is there, it will be 10, 15, 20, 50 crores. So we have maximum income in this particular.
Do you, under your RTI,
Yes.
have you ever come across a figure
Yeah.
in the entire state of Maharashtra, the total income?
No, they said that.
Or they don't
Yeah,
have a
they
data?
don't have data of even for religion separately. They never give. But we calculated from our big trusts that we are paying so much of amount. So that so if you calculate 16 into. So
No,
even we calculate all the trusts. If we calculate all the trusts, it is very big amount going to be. But they have 1.25 lakhs crores assets with all the trusts that they have told us.
Assets.
Total assets, because that was the internal external debt of Maharashtra state government, and they said you pay this deity doesn't put any money, you just pay this amount to our state government, they will come out with all the debt. So that is not correct.
They also wanted to have a CEO appointed by the state government,
Yeah.
just to increase the employment. That was all.
Yeah.
That is all gone into now dustbin. But what I'm suggesting is that now we have with us representative from ISKCON, so let us also have their insight on the subject.
Yeah.
Sir, please.
Hello, Hare Krishna, Namaste to all of you, and very grateful to our Atulbhai, Girishbhai and again sir Noshad Walaji for organizing this, and earlier also I was fortunate to have attend some of the meetings which was very fruitful, and as sir pointed out, means this charge which is being levied by the Charity Commission Office, it should be proportional to what services they are offering. And just recently, means now they have certain requirements that every year you have to file an annual budget.
Yes.
And then you have to file the audited accounts. And of course, earlier it was all manual, तब तो फिर भी कम से कम आदमी को जाके मिल के हो जाता था. अभी ऑनलाइन कर दिया, लेकिन उनका सिस्टम्स काम नहीं करता. अपलोड करने जाते हैं, होता नहीं है. एंड उसमें भी अभी अपलोड करके हमने भेज दिया, तो पहले था कि ऑडिटर का साइन होना चाहिए, 2 ऑफ द ट्रस्टी साइन करे तो हो जाएगा. अभी बोलते नहीं, सारे ट्रस्टी फाइल कर दिया तो रिजेक्ट कर दिया उन्होंने, और उसमें भी अपलोड किया तो unless and until it is going through, again it has to be rejected, you have to send an email. So many problems are there. The service is not there, only problems they are creating, and over and above they are wanting us to pay a charge, which means if actually they provide a good service, then surely, and if as sir mentioned, if there is a limitation of 50,000, I am sure trust will be able to bear it also, and we get quality services. That would be nice. But that should be the principle. And the other challenge which we find also as a trust or as like an ISKCON, which is an India, I was mentioning to sir. Now this is basically based on for Maharashtra. So there should also be certain provision that all donations or funds collected in Maharashtra, they should be subject to such a levy, rather than all the activities all over India. बाकी सब सारे जगह पे नहीं है, तो it should be proportional. So that is also something which we can mention in our proposal to the government. And also as we are very grateful if because as sir was saying, as far as the hospitals only who are purely hospitals or purely educational institutions, this is not applicable. So similarly, why only religious activities when the constitution itself is giving us full freedom to profess and practice our religion? So if best thing will be if such a charge is not there and it's a very small service which they are doing, they should do it free of charge. They should also, the government should also do something to help and inspire such trusts who are performing so many activities for the government.
Right.
This is my humble thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Prabhuji, आपसे खाली I'm just mentioning that the contribution is payable only for the money which you have collected
In
Maharashtra.
okay.
So, to my knowledge, ISKCON in those days used to have one balance sheet and income expenditure account for Maharashtra, and the other one was for the rest of India.
Okay.
and you were also having a consolidated balance sheet and consolidated account. So you always you have been offering to the Maharashtra Charity Commissioner income which is earned
In
Maharashtra. So this is very clear. You can go and check your old file because now it is 16 years old. Maybe somebody else was handling it in those days. But you may review those files. You will come to know what we are saying. Second thing is, sir, we have Atulbhai over here. Atulbhai, if you just give your insight on the subject, please.
Good evening. I am representing the Dawoodi Boda Trust in Maharashtra. What has been just mentioned by Mr. Noshi, by Mr. Atul and Mr. Viren, and from our friend from Mr. Prabhu, and everyone, we are all on the same page. Though we might be representing different community trusts, but all are being hit the same way and with the same force, because Bombay and Maharashtra is the financial hub of the country. Here is where the finances there, businesses are there. So the most donation is also coming here. And we as trust, as charitable trusts, as organizations, as temples, as dargahs, we distribute that by way of charity all over India. So when we are being hit by 2% or 5% or whatever comes, then it becomes difficult for us to manage our expenses throughout India. So that is also one of the aspects which has to be seen. Bombay, Gujarat has done it. It's very easy for them. So why can't we do it over here in Maharashtra? I think Mr. Viren would be my friend. Mr. Viren, we have been associated since last 30-40 years. He knows our in and out, how we work and how we do our charities. He will give further insights.
Thank you for the advice. Now we also have some eminent people sitting over here. You want them to also give some inputs. Sir, can you get us that mic? No, आप बैठिए totally. जरा mic दीजिए. आप यहाँ mic मांग लेंगे. नहीं इनको दे दीजिए. प्रभु जी आप इनको दे दीजिए. He will come.
राजकुमार सर.
साहब कमें भी ये शब्द बोलो. एक साहब नाम. Welcome भाई.
Hello everyone. Hi. I've been dealing with this charity office for last 35 years. You can see me fit.
because you have to work
That
hard.
was my thing which Noshid said because I really enjoy going that place. I have my office there only. Everybody meets at Starbucks or any other place. That's my meeting place. So it's at ease that I work out there. Unfortunately, as been put up by all the people on the dais, I'm of the same favor. We should not give any concession, because if you give any concession, today it may be 2%, tomorrow it will be 5%, then it will be 10%. So you need to strike it down, which is there right now. Totally we should oppose to it, because as I've been into this practice for so many years, I can understand that nothing works for charitable trust. Like no help is coming to a charitable trust. Unfortunately, all the help comes to professionals like us. Sorry to say that, but this is what has been happening out there. But again, all said and done, seriously, Noshid, we should think about that. We should oppose totally, because as been rightly put up, it's a state government duty to support that service. It's not a charitable trust.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Let me be very clear with you. So this has to be brought it very, very clearly in front of them. And ultimately, we are not against anybody, whatever the things are there. If they want to maintain their department, let them maintain a department. They want to have an office which is very, very corporate office, we don't have any problems. But again, why look at our finance? Why look at our donation that we are getting? And I don't know, sitting on the paper, getting donation nowadays is not very easy. Yeah, for religious stuff it is very easy. Because every time, like we always say, it is Mandi or Teji, the God is always supreme. So that the donation is easily for everyone. But to any other person who is running a small charitable institution, if you ask them, the donation does not come, sir. No one gives donation to them. It is their own money that they put in. And when you put in your own money and you pay contribution to the state government, it's something very foolish. I would add to one thing more before I end. There was one circular which has come for a day, for 1 day, wherein any corpus which the trust had above 100 crore was to be transferred to Chief Minister Relief Fund.
Yes.
It was only for a day. There was a lot of opposition and morning it was there, evening it vanished. He said, but the thought process. Because every time they have an eye, and I don't know what is the problem with all the government, whether it is state government or the central government. They see a trust as if it is a place where it's a conversion of a money. They don't see the good work. Mr. Modi in his speech after the COVID very, very openly said that 70% of the work which was done by the NGOs. Not even the central government could do it because it was NGOs who saved our country. But unfortunately, when it comes to anything related to trust now, it is suspicious. Like I only practice in trust, so people look very suspiciously at me. अरे ये तो conversion वाला आदमी है, मतलब ये ही काम करता होगा. With this, please, I would say we fight all out.
I would add one more thing, that day before yesterday, Gujarat government has come with a circular कि किसी भी धर्म और संप्रदाय में किसी को अभी संन्यास लेना है, दीक्षा लेना है, तो गवर्नमेंट के डिपार्टमेंट के पास एनओसी लाना पड़ेगा. हाँ, रिसेंट सर्कुलर हैज कम. कोई मतलब ये हमारा ये प्रेरोगेटिव्स गुरु भगवंतों का है, जो हमें हमारे सुपीरियर्स है, उनके पास गुरुकुलवास में 2-3 साल तक उनकी पढ़ाई होती है, अभ्यास होता है, देन दे डिसाइड कि उनका वैराग्य कैसा है. हर एक धर्म में सबकी अपनी अपनी हाँ अलग अलग नॉर्म्स है. हमारे पास 88 थे पहले, मतलब 8 रूसी थे जो राज्य सरकार को हेल्प करते थे. अभी उल्टा हो रहा है कि राज्य सरकार हमारे ट्रस्ट के ऊपर, रिलीजियस के ऊपर, धर्म सत्ता के ऊपर राज्य सत्ता को बैठना नहीं चाहिए. अभी राज्य सत्ता धर्म सत्ता के ऊपर आने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. तो दिस इज़ वेरी डेंजरस प्रोविजन फॉर अस गोइंग टू कम. वी हैव आस्क्ड वेदर इट इज़ रियली गोइंग टू हैव 130 crores दे ऑलरेडी डिसाइडेड टू स्पेंड ऑन दैट, कि हम 130 करोड़ का एक बड़ा डिपार्टमेंट खड़ा करेंगे इसके लिए, और सभी के पास से सभी धर्म गुरुओं को बिठा के उनकी बात करके आपको एप्लीकेशन करना पड़ेगा ऑनलाइन कि भाई मैं दीक्षा लूँ कि नहीं लूँ, संन्यास लूँ कि नहीं लूँ, और गवर्नमेंट अप्रूवल देगा तभी आप संन्यास ले सकते हैं.
Section 26 infringement.
Yes, sir. That have to do it. That they cannot do it, but we have to challenge.
They have their own way. They minors are doing it. They are still not mature. But they have their own ways of doing or approaching towards their religious faith. They cannot interfere.
And Virendra, this has been approved by 10 judgments since 1930. There are 10 Supreme Court judgments. It is very clearly said that they cannot intrude into the religious freedom.
See, the bottom line is very clear that the government, whether central government or state government, they like to have control over charitable and religious stuff.
Right.
In Maharashtra, and also when the Gujarat Public Trust Act was moved, which has been taken away, there was an actual provision that if a trust has a certain income, I can't remember, it was just a few lakhs of rupees, they were entitled to put the government nominee on your board of trustees. So this was, it came in Maharashtra also.
We opposed it.
So that's what I'm saying.
Exactly. At that time,
so
the
for
law
40 years we have been doing this. I mean, I've been 40 years in this field, and I know that at every stage, central or state government wanted to have control. The job of the law is to regulate, not to control.
Yes.
Certainly regulate through legislation, but you cannot be controlling it. That's where we are getting.
Sir, I can tell you n number of examples. The recent one, which because all of you are from Bombay, Siddhivinayak Trust. Siddhivinayak was religious trust, public religious trust. Eventually they saw that a lot of devotees are coming, big money is being offered. They hijacked it and they made an act out of the Siddhivinayak temple.
Even Pandharpur.
Yes. And because they are not from Bombay, because we have all varied
Yes.
people, I can tell you that this is a very hot topic. Government always wants to sit on your religious trust and endowments, which is generating, whether it is, what is Tirupati temple?
Yes.
You have,
Yes.
temple board. What has happened with our Sinaji temple, Nathdwara, temple trust? What has happened with the Shirdi? Shirdi is not a pure Hindu trust, but I am talking about, it has its own flavor. But even there is now a temple board. Not only here, you go to, आप जो रास्ते निकालते हो ना, Jagannath Tourism Temple board over there. So all Hindu endowments, they have made itself, and Nathdwara Temple Trust is of 1931. And then those days, see, ultimately what they want to prove is that there is a mismanagement of funds.
Yes, yes.
And then they justify that now the mismanagement is there. The Tilka was a sort of a king for that endowment, the head religious priest. He was superseded, and there is now a CEO appointed who is an IAS officer from the cadre of Rajasthan government, nominated by the chief minister over there, and he sits over there as a CEO. His signature is a must for passing any check over there. So this is what rightly Naushid said. This is their flavor. They want to be on such big trust, so that ultimately they can, or the ruling government can control and favor those people or beneficiaries whom they want to be favored.
But there is a very clear judgment of Supreme Court that intention of donor is to be seen. So when I spend any amount into the Bandara, so you can't give it to hospital or education department. This for religious purpose.
Of course.
So then why they are spending Siddhivinayak funds to their own trust of education and all that? They are transferring those funds to their education trust.
Jains are very smart. Jains have a written code.
Yeah.
That we have to spend money only for this.
Yeah.
We cannot spend
otherwise.
You have a code.
We have a code.
In itself. So that code is not there in all religion.
Yeah.
But what I am trying to tell you is that this is the same thing. If you see the commentary on Article 26 and 27, see that there will not be any taxes on the amount collected for religious worship and all. There the reference was of jizya.
Yeah.
What Aurangzeb used to charge to non-Muslims who were in that state as a tax. It was a tax for not preaching Islam. So what I am trying to tell you is, it is the same fundamental, same flavor which is being brought in, although there is a prohibition in the fundamental right. And this is where we have now been harping on that Article 26, 27, 25 every time to the government. For every religious trust, they made, even while registering under 12 AB and all, they had all this. Thank you, Gautam.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
They had been, always, harping on this subject.
Yes.
They say you cannot have religious and charitable trust as an object. So this is all funny. Unfortunately, we must be guided properly, all religious institutions, so that we can have pure religious trust. So now, sir, I will ask Rajkamal Bhai, and please introduce yourself.
I am Mr. Vakil, trustee of various trusts, Parsi trusts. I'd like to thank the Indian Persons Chamber and the association for bringing this up to our knowledge that such an event has happened. I've seen the draft presentation to government which has been circulated. I don't find any mention of one of the elements that was put in the original judgment, namely the difference between tax and cess.
Yes.
I find no mention of that over there. The position still remains that this is supposed to be a cess to cover the cost of the department.
Yes.
Right? I think this element needs to be brought in, point number one. Point number two, I feel there needs to be clarity and the government should be required to justify the huge amount of expenditure which we have done at this particular point in time. Right? I mean, and whether an RTI or otherwise in the appeal to the court, etc., that these details must be made available. That in a span of 16 years, this is the kind of cost which has been incurred or
Right.
expenditure incurred, and the government, state government, and whoever are the persons involved in this, be brought to account as to what the kind of expenditure they have done and with what objective and purpose. I find that also is missing in the requirement from the government to come clear on this part. The third element I would just like to point out, I think erroneously both of you said 2% or 50,000, whichever is higher. Please don't make that mistake. It should be
Lower,
whichever is lower.
whichever is lower.
So
Lower.
I'm just pointing out.
Yeah, right. I came to know.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
I came to know that time only, but since it was, yes.
Fourth, what is mention has been made about the lack of services. To my mind, this is done willfully and consciously. That the more difficult you make it for the clients, etc., waste of a whole day. The change from what used to be earlier, where you could go and meet to the officer concerned and express whatever you have to say, to now what is a quasi-judicial proceeding, which necessarily requires the appointment of an advocate. Right? I think this needs to be pointed out, that this should be scaled back to the original thing, where if the trustee is called, right, that they do accept an authorized representative come. I mean, now they come to a situation that no trustee must come in person. I mean, there is no reason for doing that. Why cannot a CA or any other representative, the secretary of the trust, etc., attend for the trustees? So I find that element also missing, which needs to be taken up and put in. And I don't see why we need to proceed about the vote. I mean, it is a den of corruption. Let's not mince words. Let's put it in writing to the state government. I mean, of course, those who are in government are not, unknown to this fact. And all these black-coated guys who stand outside over there are nothing more than touts with a degree. I see no reason why we should pussy about around this particular thing and not call a spade a spade. And require that just as changes have been made on the ROC side, right, that changes should be made over here, that there is a good and positive service to the people. So I think this is the fourth point which needs to be put in as such, that this absolute total harassment with an eye and intent that money be paid, only then change reports will be changed, etc. and all that. Right? Trusts which have to necessarily, because of lack of funds, have to sell their immovable properties, etc. All things are updated when the developer comes in and pays whatever he used to pay. Right? But otherwise, change reports, other elements, whatever is filed, etc. Nothing is available. I went to get a copy of the charity registration certificate, trust number 9, 10, and 11, 1950. 9, 10, and 11 procedure number. That man opened it in front of my eyes, that red kapra paper, etc. 200 certificates collapsed in a powder in front of me. Is this what they spent so many hundreds of crores or whatever you said? It collapsed. It was just powder. So I think these elements need to be brought out, right? That there is nothing short of sheer corruption in this 200 or 400 whatever crores that they have spent, right? That on a day-to-day basis there is sheer harassment to members of the public, those connected with the administration of trusts, and therefore there should be no case for creation of or rebringing in this particular element of charges and fees. I may accept that alright, some particular element, if it's 50,000, while it was mentioned that we should go hammer and talk with them and not accept anything, that I leave it to your judgment in terms of whatever is the better way to do that. And finally, the point that in this country there is no social net, right? The common people, the poor people have got no social services given to them by the government. It's a matter of fact, doesn't need to be even, argued. It is through NGOs and through trusts, more so trusts which were created in the days before 1950, right? Which were not trusts created with the area of doing business, not like today's modern present day schools, etc., which are set up with an eye on making huge profits, etc. Schools set up under the charitable intent of those times, they find it difficult today to even attract students. Their seats are going vacant, etc. They are going into continuous losses and deficits as such, right? Whether it is giving of grains, providing of any kind of relief to the poor, etc. kind of thing. As it is, all costs have gone up with GST. I mean, that is something which is entirely not visible, that how much of cost has gone up before that. You are already taxing the trust to that extent. Nothing can be done about that, that's part of it, right? But today to say that the state government, which needs to regulate public trusts, needs to recover this even as a cess, should also be questioned today. There is no justification for it. It is part of your responsibility as the state government to do whatever it is necessary out of your general budget, right? So I think these 5 particular elements, if they could be, be referred to, added to, etc., and be taken up in your discussion, that would be great.
Yeah.
Before that, you just add what you want.
Yeah, I just want to say that I completely endorse what Mr. Vakil has just said. This department is supposed to be basically a quasi-judicial authority, but functions like a district court. Simple things as registration of a trust. You are supposed to make an application, insist that the trustee must come in person. Newspaper advertisement has to be given only in certain types of newspapers which no one reads. Put up a 1-month notice on the notice board which no one reads. Today a Section 8 company which is on par with a public charitable trust, at the ROC's office, I guarantee you, in 4 weeks' time, that is in 1 month's time, you'll get your registration and license under Section 8. And seamlessly without anyone having to step into that office. Everything is templatized. Your memorandum and articles of association templatized. Only change is your name, objectives, and who are your directors. Sign the dotted line, give it, and in 4 weeks you are ready to go. The trouble is that Section 8 companies have become popular only in the last 10-15 years. I remember that when my organization was established some 40 years ago, people questioned, but you're a company, how are you a charity? I said, I've got the same 12A, I've got the same ATG, and I've got the same FCI. There is even a provision to convert a trust or a society into a Section 8 company.
We have been doing it, yes.
It is, but there is a process, and it's a very difficult process. But it is possible. We also need to make the government realize that we have an option. The only trouble is that if we jump to that, I don't know whether something will happen where that regulator is also concerned.
They will come there.
So I don't know whether from a frying pan we will jump into the fire. But I'll stop here.
There's one point which I want to add. We are auditors of one Section 8 company, or Atulbhai Shah, which is running over 100 schools and colleges.
Yes.
This is a very old. This company was established in 1915 or so.
Even IMC is a Section 25 company.
Oh,
The Indian Merchants Chamber is a Section 25 company.
Mind well, there is a judgment of Bombay High Court which says that Section 8 company or Section 25 company is also a trust.
If it holds property in trust.
It is also a trust and needs to register itself with the Office of Charity. There is a judgment, and Human Islam, which is a Section 8 company, whom we are the auditors. It does not have no property, but even much prior to where we took over as auditor, they have been filing their return also with the Office of Charity as sole trustee, and it is sole trustee of various trusts created for decades, by the scheme settled by High Court and City Civil Court and all. But it is also required, as per the judgment, Now, if there is a contrary judgment to that, I am not aware.
It's 74 judgment.
Yeah, 74 judgment.
They
Yeah.
are bypassing charity commissioner. So every section 8 company or 25 company should go through charity commissioner then it happens.
And so it is like a dual registration, society and trust. Similarly, company and charity commissioner. Yeah. Sir, please. We have Raj Kamal Shah, who is also a very senior chartered accountant and also an expert on GST.
Yeah.
But he has come with all his ailing health. He has made up a point to come over here and please give us your insight.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you all of us to give me an opportunity to be here with you to share my views on very, very important topic of the government's, what I would say is something stealing money from the pocket of the post. If I put it like this, because this is, they found it's a holy cow wherein it is very easy to, because trust me, there is nobody who really controls. There only the individuals are there that controlling, and therefore for them to put the pressure on them to collect the money. Having said so, first I will draw your attention very important judgment of Himachal Pradesh High Court.
Yes.
Very recent about a month back. In one Kashmir C.A.'s case, wherein the Himachal Pradesh a temple trust, the deities were offered the what you call the where the deities they call it offerings, okay, and the government wanted to make infrastructures and buildings.
So they wanted money from there.
Yes.
I have said this
एक बात
with
बताइए
Atulbhai and with
बाटविया सर इस तरह
and that the judgment very clearly says that the money cannot be used for any other purpose other than deity.
Correct.
Old age homes or the hospitals or the some what you call animals welfare, etc. So leaving this, no money can be given to anybody else.
Correct.
Very recent judgment of this
You cannot digress the.
yes.
So it is very clear and clearly cited anywhere, wherever required. Okay, yeah.
My request is to be very brief because we have so many people sitting and there are people who want to go. We focus on contribution, what the subject is contribution which they are the government wants to impose. Please.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, good, but just request is that you give.
2% becomes there only on all the say purchase a building or whatever the expenditure they have incurred for this. That is the amount which you are offering to deities cannot be used for that. It's not authorities.
You are right.
Okay. And secondly, when we are talking about section 44 and 36, okay, then when is the Article 25-26, it talks about the tax. The government says that the cess is or fees is given to the tax. So it's a fees to manage the trust. That is a fine distinction between this. But there are very many distinctions which says that fees is different from tax. That has to be explored. And the last thing is, I think when we are all here and we are, I think we are talking about making a representative to the government. I am having a little different view. Like going to the government straight away, based on the judgment, and asking for that, now it gives this relief, would be rather bail mujhe mara. I would put it like this. Let them frame the rules. Let them say that I want to take 70% or I want 70%. Then in that case, you can always test. This is not proper. It should be like this. So it should be other way around rather than approaching them direct. This is my personal. Rather than coming to them forward and then we make a representative of judicial case. Thank you.
Mr. Merchant, I wanted to leave, but I just wanted to make a point that I think you did mention a very, very important point which is getting lost. That is to try and find out as to what is the sum total income that all the trusts are collecting on the one hand, and then trying to say as to why is it that the trusts are supposed to be paying for the inefficiency of the department's existence, where they are spending so much money that every year they need to be collecting that kind of money. Because that would be such a glaring gap between the incomes that they will generate and the expenses they want to make.
Precisely what High Court observed.
Correct. And
This
this
is
is what we
why
need
they
to
got a
find.
stay.
That is what.
Sir, you know what?
I know, I am personally telling you, I know some few trusts whose total income, sir mentioned about Jain trust, but if I can count some 20 trusts, they have income over 15,000 crore rupees.
Correct.
15,000 crore rupees liable for contribution.
Hmm.
And these are all religious trusts. Whether it is Swaminarayan, whether it is Jain, whether it is Muslim charities, whether it is Christian charities, everything if you count, it is over just the religious trust. Forget about other trusts. Now 15,000 crore, if they charge 2% is a walking to 300 crore rupees. Sir has, I asked him what is the total annual expenses which the latest affidavit says. It says about 40 crore or 50 crore
Maximum.
annual expenses of administrative salary and whatever.
No, salary is paid by the state board.
Yes.
But
that
it is
is
reimbursed from the
other
PTA.
side.
But other than salary, they have to be spent.
Your salary is also reimbursed from here. The salary is also burden on PTA. The 40-50 crore is, my understanding, subject to correction, but my understanding is that the total expenses, although they cannot, the salary payment cannot be stopped the way Trump has done, but here, it's a different story. Here, government still pays, although I got as a stay for that. So this money is totaling to 40 to 50 crore, out of which they said they have about 2 years ago, what affidavit you mentioned, they have an income on that 500 crore, they had interest income of about 35-40 crore.
Yes, yes.
And 10 crore was deficit, is what
Yes,
that time. Now that they have spent whatever that 500 crore, what I am saying is that just the trust which we know, and there may be many in the interiors of Maharashtra, we know whopping income. And this income, now they are coming out with an affidavit, they need 5,000 crore.
Yes, yes.
This is what you just asking. 5,000 crore is the expected expenditure, including capital expenditure, which they are projecting. I don't know when and how they will be able to spend 5,000 crores.
No, they say
That figure, it
Yeah,
will become
please.
very
What
easy
they
to
I
get to
will
the
tell you.
50,000 number that you are talking about. Once you show the gap between the incomes that they will generate and the likely expenditure that they are trying to make, then the 50,000 limit which Naushad was talking about will be very easy and justifiable.
Of course.
no. When court said that if we allow us you to collect 3% for last 15 years
Yeah.
during the stay period, then what would be your income? That time they have filed an affidavit in High Court
Yeah.
that we will be collecting 4,153 crores
In this 15 years.
in 15 years.
Out
Or
of
if it is 3%.
contribution.
If it is 3%.
For
Right?
the
So
15
that
years.
from that you can get that they are getting about 1,500, 1,600 crores per annum. Even Mudliar and Iyengar committee report is there in Supreme Court, it is filed in Apex Court, that if at all government wants to manage their affairs, they should go to these trusts. They should learn from these trusts how to manage them, because they understand how the trusts are managing their affairs very well. So Mudliar and Iyengar committee report is already filed in the Apex Court. कि आप ट्रस्ट के पास जाके सीखो कि गवर्नमेंट को मैनेजमेंट कैसा करना चाहिए. And they are asking us
Vipin
to
bhai,
pay.
your insight is
Vipin bhai,
required.
your-
Just mic and a pass karo na bhai.
Mike, Vipin bhai.
He's an authority. He's an authority in our chartered accountants.
Vipin bhai is
fraternity.
also a very senior chartered
Yeah.
accountant, and he has been associated with the Office of Charity Commissioner and the law of charity related to income tax also, and we are very happy and pleased to have you over here.
The official speaker in our Chartered Accountants Association also
Thank you
there.
very much. In fact, I got delayed. By mistake, I noted the time 5 o'clock. So,
It's okay.
yeah. So I reached 5 o'clock. So far as this contribution is concerned, because there are other hundreds of things are there. So if we go on talking that, we will not reach to it. So I will, my particular issue is contribution, which High Court has said the state government has to decide along with charity commissioner that as per 58 what is to be freshly
Issued.
assessed. See, the word used is assess. Means they have to assess what is the requirement and accordingly they cannot charge more than 5%. 2% they were charging. Gujarat charity commission, I think it must have been discussed. There is a cap.
Yeah, 50,000.
So in Maharaj taking one name, what is there? But there must be a cap.
There must be a.
That is one thing. Another thing, the calculation of amount to be chargeable for the contribution is also faulty. Only secular education and medical and animals welfare is allowed.
Exempt, yes.
What about other charitable objects? What about other expenses? What about establishment expenses? So that Form 9C is also required to be amended. And it is the same form is since 1951. Audit report is separate thing, yes or no. Still the tender amount is 5,000. Audit is applicable if your income is more than 5,000. What is this? And making amendments, making higher penalties. Again, there is an amendment last one. Anyhow, my submission is that there should not be contribution at all. Why charitable trust has to contribute? For their management or for the benefit of trust or for the benefit of beneficiaries? And what rightly has said, they are acting as a district court. So many things that fellow has also pointed out so many issues. But that is all, procedural and those aspects. Today our topic is the contribution. So my submission before the representation, and I will not agree with, I differ with Raj Kamal. Because if they come out with some scheme or something,
It's too late.
then it's too late.
We must approach.
Yes, we know what is the judgment. We should approach. Now the law minister is funding himself.
Yes.
So we must meet, make a representation and explain to him. And now this is a time where you consider all these things. There should not be contribution at all.
That's our first step.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let the state government pay from the coffers as a social cost.
Yeah. And this staff can
They
be
can, they
incorporated.
can afford to pay
Yeah, they can-
2,200 rupees for Lati
They
Bank.
can get it included in CSR.
It is their CSR.
They spend there.
Yeah, not a big amount.
Not a big amount. And the money which they were having, is all utilized for capital expenditure, most of it.
Yeah. that
What
is
they are
also-
projected, yes.
Yes.
Yes, all the
Big offices
16
there.
offices and the Bombay office and all that.
They
Now
use-
6 crore is a rent.
Yes.
Such a rent is.
Yeah. That's my 6 crores.
So anyway, there are two things I want to say. No contribution. If they want to levy contribution, it should be reasonable, and there must be a cap. Highest.
Yeah,
And third is the calculation.
right.
Then you don't want to allow any other charitable
Exemption.
activities, expenses. And amendment is needed in 1951. Same calculation.
75.
Then,
Too long.
so I think we should prepare a proper representation. And 2 selected people, all you 6 can go. And
Including you.
appear, take their appointment, appear before them personally, hand it over.
And we can use media also in this connection. Because then there will be public pressure on
Public
them.
pressure.
And many trustees have to come up.
Mumbai Mirror has covered something yesterday. You may have seen.
Yeah, even some other Marathi I have cuttings. Other Marathi newspapers they have also covered. But they have just explained what is the provision and order. What is needed to be done is not mentioned. I don't want to go for other provisions in the Deputy Minister office and what is going on procedural aspect. That's a different issue because that's a differently we have to explain. But present Charity Commissioner is a gentleman. Very nice person. I think all these things, if we take it up, he is a person he can take up. Another is that Circular 619.
Yes.
I think that it is misconcepted. The private trust act, Indian Trust Act is for private trust.
Private trust, absolutely.
But Finance Ministry has issued Circular 21 wherein they permitted all these investments.
This is all
So then nobody is understanding.
big mistake.
And this charity minister is permitting
Misleading.
and permitting 50% big hearted. I am allowing 50%. But what you are allowing?
No, but they are
11.5
not,
you will see.
sir, exactly what you said, they are not having the differentiation
Between
that
the-
Indian Trust Act apply only to a private trust
And private trust make investment
and not to a public charitable trust.
Yes, exactly
Now,
right.
this basic understanding is missing.
Yeah.
So that there is a basic
સર
concept.
આપણે જેને સમજાવો આ વાત એટલું
But here issue the circular.
that can always be amended and changed.
No, it's circular can be
It is like
changed.
with the
Yes.
income tax.
Sorry,
Well,
can
even
be.
income tax department, we just went to the JPC, I am digressing, but they were not aware. They brought in a law where 100% religious and 100% charitable.
Charitable, they are
Now
the
what is
percentage.
nonsense? Your constitution says religious and charitable.
Yes.
How can you make a law
That
which is
religious and
contrary to
charitable.
the fundamental rights ingrained in the constitution?
That they have corrected. Viren.
That
That they have corrected.
Yes,
That
આપણે
even
તો
though-
કરવા
અમે
representative.
હાથ જોડ્યા છે એટલે આ જ હાથ જોડવાની વાત હમણાં છે
હા.
કે ભાઈ જો સાહેબ તમે જેમ કહ્યું એમ જ એક્ઝેક્ટલી કે હાથ જોડીને કામ થતું હોય સમજાવટથી કામ થતું હોય
તો પેલા કરાવો.
તો પેલા એ કરાવો અને નહીં તો જો લાલ આંખ દેખાડવા માટે છે જ આપણા લોકો મહાવીર ભગવાન
Not only that, High Court has said if petitioner is not happy, they can go.
Yes, yes, that is what I have mentioned. I
their rights are
mentioned it.
reserved, huh, સાહેબ?
Rights are reserved.
And
yes.
this lady wants to say something. Please pass the mic to this lady.
આ બહુ સરસ
સરસ વાત છે.
એમની વાત
Thank you, Vipin Bhai.
Nice.
Very important, very important.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I represent ASEMA Charitable Trust. We are purely doing educational activities free of cost for slum children. 3 BMC schools adopted in Mumbai and 1 school for tribal children, giving education completely free of cost, giving free meals, everything. Now, if we are burdened by this 2%,
You will not be exempt. You are exempt as an educational object.
Yeah,
I just did some research. There are 584 trusts registered in Maharashtra. Assuming even half of them are there or non-existent, still 50,000 per trust would cover several years of their expenses. They don't have to go to 2%.
સાહેબ પ્લીઝ
Yeah, the contribution should be prospective, not retrospective.
So
No, that is already there in the court judgment.
Judgment says.
Judgment says clearly. No, no retrospective.
They are restricted.
Yes, yes.
But what is
That is all.
That is very clear.
Introduce करना आपको.
I'm David Goenka. I work with an environmental group. Sir, I've been listening very patiently, but I've still not understood what services the Charity Commissioner's office. I think we are paying them for harassing us. We are paying them for harassing us.
This services.
That's another topic
Topic
altogether.
altogether.
Here we are trying to save what little we can save.
Yes.
The whole idea is that monetarily, we are not taxed so heavily.
But I think so, the judgment says that they can charge fees for services rendered, but they're not giving the services.
No, there is zero service.
Yes.
There is in fact a disservice. I agree.
So I think
That has been brought to the notice
there
of
should be no
court.
question of
Yeah.
paying any contribution.
Yeah.
In fact, they should be paying us.
Good one.
So if you say that the government has been taking over religious trust because of mismanagement, then we should take over government. Because this is the biggest mismanagement that you can think of.
Very good one.
Devi Goenka is, an environmentalist, and he has earned a lot of laurels for himself and done a lot of services on the field of environment.
Very nice.
Please, Devi, you get taken.
So I would say that we should go to the CM and say, scrap the Charity Commission office, shut it down. And while Maharashtra is being discriminated against.
But this is true because so many states don't have it.
Only 12 states have got.
Only 4.
Only 4.
Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. That's it.
So this is discrimination, right?
Yeah.
You know, when the computerization thing was on, I was interacting with one of the Jain Charity Commissioner. TCS came up with some proposal and they were asking for some 400-500 crore rupees to do computerization on the line of MCA. He says, how can I spend so much? How do I recommend spending so much? So what I'm saying is they don't have this office, the way it is structured, it is going to remain the same unless some energy, some powerful person comes and really supersedes and takes over the operations and the basic structure of the Office of Charity. Now, we can even request the CM to do it. That way you spend the money, whatever 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore for computerization, and put it online and give it to a company called which has an international experience on this line. And we have so many IT companies which can do it. So in fact, when we are talking about this, as Sir rightly said, what are the services? Then that services we need to ask and request the CM that we need to focus on improving this service in terms of computerization and in terms of procedure.
Present online, what they have done has messed the whole record.
Royally.
For so many years, Schedule 1 is not available.
Not available, yes.
They are not signing it.
Not signing, correct.
And you fill up it.
Yeah.
And you cannot.
Yeah.
Uploading accounts also is a headache.
विपिन भाई मेरे पास एक RTI है उसमें दोनों साल के रिपोर्ट्स मेरे पास है. Both are differing
Of the same year.
of the same year.
I just want to make one point. See this, I'm still on that point. What is the service? They are asking us, they make laws and rules saying that you have to comply with ABCD and that this becomes longer and longer. You have to do everything on affidavit, you have to go personally and so on and so forth. That's not a service. They are forcing us to do things. It is compulsory because they have made the rules and they call it a service.
But I think to take this point, I have not read the judgment, but if the judgment says for service rental, then it has to be something that, okay, every change report you file, you pay them 500 rupees or whatever. So that will be nowhere close to 2%.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Very nice.
So any change report filed so much, accounts filed so much, you have to make a table of costs or charges for that.
Exactly right.
So I think that is something we can say that the judgment says for services,
But no contribution.
right, but which is not contribution.
Yeah.
But no contribution.
You
No,
know,
contribution
everybody has the main, the undercurrent of today's discussion is, undercurrent of today's discussion is
Yes.
that we approach the finance minister,
Law minister.
Law minister.
who is the chief minister at the moment. We also make our memorandum or make a submission that number one, eliminate contribution altogether. Number two, if you still want to retain it, you peg it to a maximum ceiling of say 50,000 rupees, how it is there in the office of Gujarat. And third thing is that, as what rightly pointed, that as per the judgment, it has to be packed with the services. So you tabulate what service, what amount of fees.
Yes.
So that things are very clear.
Very good.
And more important, the last point which Vipin Bhai has said is that we need to improvise Form 9C and make changes with tuning it to the current day stand. For example, We have now yoga as a separate, which there is no provision over there,
Yeah.
or which we have.
Environment also not there.
Sorry?
Environmental.
Environmental, but environmental they are, they have made some exception, and such trusts are not allowed, I mean, they are not charging.
58 na exempt.
You are exempt under 58 in some rule, rule 32. So you have education, medical and environmental trusts are exempted, such trusts which are running for women empowerment and
that
scheduled
is-
tribes, they are also
That
exempted.
is, if they are wholly for that.
Yeah, wholly.
If there is a mix,
Mix, then there is
then
none.
again problem.
But then 9C does not have any
No,
deduction
no
for
problem.
environmental expense. So this is what we must ask. You have a point, yeah.
And Viren bhai, I would
Sir,
request
sorry,
one more. Yeah.
One last point, sir. The government keeps on talking about ease of doing business. But we are being treated worse than prisoners, actually. Why should the ease of business not apply to charitable trusts? They should be simplifying life for us, not making it more difficult.
I would request Nositi and Viren bhai to make a press release of this today's function and pressurize the government that we are going to meet them.
We will certainly do.
Yeah, that would be better, and it should
In
be.
fact, Mufaddal and I were debating, should we call the press today, but we thought that we will avoid it. I mean, we debated on this.
No, but release can be.
Release will certainly be given,
That
but
would be better.
consolidating the collective
It will
thinking.
create lot of pressure on the government also, that people have met, so many trusts came and they have decided
Correct.
to represent the government.
I have two questions. One is that there is discussion that we can completely revamp this department. I mean to say, remove this department. In that absence, suppose in the presentation, who will do that? Let's suppose the job of Charity Commissioner office. If suppose we are asking them to remove completely, any other
You will change the law, you will ask.
State government,
No, no, it is to be scrapped, that's it.
state government,
we don't, doesn't mean that we don't need any
State
other.
government.
State government.
state government.
It can be argued that we are anyway being governed by the income tax law, for tax exemption
Other
and.
states where there is no charity commission.
Vipin bhai, income tax is adequately regulating us, charities, because of 12A, etc.
Yes.
And what about states where there is no charity commissioner? They are being regulated by Delhi,
By the
which
court.
is the national capital.
By the
There are
court.
some-
By the court.
By the courts, exactly.
Report and registration is just attestation.
Correct.
And there is no tag for them. They take months, years, decades for doing everything.
As I said, if you are going to create a public charitable trust in Delhi, you create a trustee, go to the sub-registrar's office, and under the Indian Registration Act, you get a chappa. Next day you get your 10, get your 12A, 80G provisional, and you are in business, period. But Maharashtra, just register will take you maybe 2-3 months, maybe, because newspaper advertisement, call the trustee personally, notice board 1 month. Stupidity.
Or you pay 50,000 bucks to a town, you get.
And the corruption level also very high. The amount of corruption is very high. That everywhere they have.
I used to go regularly to that office, but I've stopped it unless I am to be there in my capacity as a trustee. But I don't know what I can't tolerate more. Is it the incompetence of the department or the corruption? I think both.
Sir, so we conclude.
Yes, we should.
I would
Try to wrap up, yes.
Wrap up, and in today's meeting, these 4 points have come up.
Absolutely.
Girish.
But first of all, I want to thank all of you for making your time and giving this excellent input, because that's exactly what we were looking for and we got from all of you. So a big hand to you.
आज की मीटिंग में हमें ये समझना है कि जगह हमारी है, पैसे हमारे हैं, मेहनत हमारी है, हम लोग पैसा लाके सेवा करते हैं और इसके ऊपर गवर्नमेंट अपना आइडिया और अपना रिप्रेजेंटेटिव रख के हमारे ऊपर कंट्रोल करना चाहते हैं, तो इसके लिए हम लोग को कोई दूसरा एक मार्ग सोचना चाहिए, जरूरी है। मोशी भाई ने कुछ बताया ना, तो वो हिसाब से भी हम लोग को सोचना जरूरी है, क्योंकि जब तक ये क्या है, एक बात समझ लो कि ये लोग ने, हम लोग पैसे देते हैं, बोलते हैं, लेकिन कुछ कर नहीं पाते। कभी हमें करने की बात है तो क्या कि हम उनको ये दिखाना चाहते हैं, कभी आप नहीं सुधरेंगे तो हम हमारे हिसाब से हम चेंज हो जाएंगे, हम चेंज कर लेंगे और हम हमारे हिसाब से बढ़ेंगे। क्योंकि जब ये सेवा हमें करनी है, सेवा के लिए पैसे हम लोग जुटा रहे, जगह के लिए हम लोग दे रहे हैं, तो फिर वो लोग की मोनोपोली हमें क्यों चाहिए? कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है। तो हमारा ये कहना है कि कोई भी हालत में जो ये लोग को सुधरने की कोई शक्यता मुझे तो दिखती नहीं, क्योंकि उन्होंने देख लिया है। 2011 में विजन भाई को मालूम है कि डायरेक्ट टैक्स वो लेके आए थे, मेरे ख्याल से वो टैक्स कोड डायरेक्ट टैक्स कोड लेके आए हैं। वो प्रणब मुखर्जी वित्त मंत्री थे, तो वो हिसाब से वो लोग ने सोचा था कि कितना कलेक्शन चैरिटेबल और एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन के पास आवे, जो चेक में आवे तो 15% 15% टैक्स, और कैश आवे या निकले जो गवर्नमेंट बोलते हैं उसमें निकले तो 30% टैक्स। ये वो लोग ने डिसाइड किया था और हम लोग ने फाइट की थी। विरेंद्र भाई और नौशीर भाई ने बहुत अच्छी तरह से वो रिप्रेजेंट किया और वो बात अटक गई। लेकिन वो एक बात समझ के रखना कि अभी वो लोग ये समझ गए हैं कि अभी टैक्स डालने की तैयारी है, और हमारा कुछ भी हो वो लोग आज नहीं तो कल भी हमारे ऊपर टैक्स लाएंगे, जरूर लाएंगे। तो उसमें से ये निकलने के लिए हमारे पास एक ही रास्ता है कि ट्रस्ट को कोई दूसरे वो इसे कन्वर्ट करे कि जैसे वो लोग टैक्स अपने पास से वसूल नहीं कर सकते, और जो टैक्स देना है तो फिर कायदे से देना। मेरा ये कहना है काम
नहीं, गिरीश भाई की बात तो मैं एक बात बराबर कहता हूँ, क्योंकि एक एक्स चीफ मिनिस्टर ने बोला था कि जितना भी गोल्ड है ना ट्रस्टों के पास वो सब सरकार को दे दो। एक नहीं पण साहेब એ પણ અને स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हैज सेंट देयर एक 2-3 लोगों का एक रिप्रेजेंटेशन उड़ीसा और दूसरी जगह पे भेजा है कि जहाँ पे ट्रस्टों को वो लोग कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं। तो कौन सा कैसा एक बनना चाहिए महाराष्ट्र के लिए, दैट दे हैव ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड। मतलब पूरा ट्रस्ट के ऊपर जैसा आप बता रहे हैं कि उनका एक CEO इधर होना चाहिए वगैरह, सब पूरा कंट्रोल उनको, जैसे पंढरपुर और सिद्धिविनायक का अलग एक्ट है वैसे जितने भी महाराष्ट्र के स्टेट के ट्रस्ट है वो उनके कंट्रोल में आवे, ऐसा रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑलरेडी दे हैव स्टार्टेड थिंकिंग ऑन दैट लाइन।
ट्रस्ट के जितने एसेट है वो कोई भी हालत में वो लोग को अपने पास खींच लेंगे।
हाँ बस
अभी रिसेंटली हुआ पूना में गोखले ट्रस्ट के हिसाब से, ये जैन कम्युनिटी की बहुत बड़ा प्लॉट था।
हाँ।
तो वो उसमें डीलिंग में लोगों ने ऑब्जेक्शन लिया, फिर भी चैरिटी कमिश्नर ने पास करके गोखले ट्रस्ट गोखले बिल्डर को वो जमीन ट्रांसफर किया, बहुत बड़ा हुआ। और फिर इतना शोरगुल हुआ कि फिर वो सब अभी रुका। अभी ऐसी बात भी हमारे पास तो इसके लिए क्या है कि हम लोग को दूसरी लाइन सोचना जरूरी है, और वो खास आप सोचने की तैयारी करो। उसमें नौशीर भाई और वीरेंद्र भाई को मैं खास विनती करता हूँ, उसके लिए कुछ रास्ता
करेंगे, पूरी कोशिश करेंगे। You can avoid charity commission by going to ROC. That's the only otherwise. Organized manner if you want to do, unorganized manner you can do anything. Organized manner if you want to do, you have to get it in the main.
So they are going to make a central trust, public charitable trust act. The way they have brought in Waqf Act is what I have heard. I don't know to what extent the exercise is completed, but they want an act to supervise public charitable trust,
Yes.
which is a central act. So if they bring in, and if they again create offices like charity commissioners all across the state, like how they have created Waqf boards in all across the state, it is again going to be resulting into the same
See, the only thing is again under the Constitution of India, charity is a state subject,
Yeah.
but it is also on the concurrent list.
Yes.
So they will use the concurrent list matter, but otherwise it is essentially a state regulator. Charity has to be controlled at the state level.
By state
That is
level.
under the Constitution. But yes, it is on the concurrent list.
So both the
At the same time, there are black sheep also.
Sir, 2004, I was on the
Black sheep
committee.
being misused like anything.
I was on the committee of the Planning Commission in 2004 for this very law that you are speaking about. I was one of the advisory committee members. But it is still gathering dust. I mean, our Planning Commission has become Niti Aayog, and I don't know what happened. But we have submitted a report in this regard. It is not advisable because of all these technicalities. But I was very much a part of the Planning Commission at that time.
Vipin wants to say something on black sheep, but just the black sheep, when you are mentioning, the issue has come up more after the CSR introduction.
That's what I'm saying.
Earlier, these charities and religious trusts which were there, which was old, established for hundreds of years or maybe decades, they never, even I personally know all my client trusts or whom I give pro bono services, they say no to this money business. But now the CSR has come, it has the businessman community is bought into all this.
Okay, 30,000 crores under CSR every year. 30,000 crores.
I want to make one information.
No, India, all India.
No shit. In last 1 year, Income Tax Department has started searching on these bogus claims, bogus donations and all these things. Nearly 50,000 crore unearthed black money transactions they have found. And majority is donations. And out
Political donation.
Political. Not full. Majority political, but others also there.
I was with some, we were in India house the other day, and they are saying that we are issuing notices to all these donors, confess or else we are going to harass you. So these people, there was money laundering happening by political parties. Now what I am saying is,
Others also in.
but this mess is big. Why should they harass genuine charities? You may create whatever network or whatever laws you want to create for regulating them. This is just too much. And here we are talking about simple question of say contribution.
Yes.
કરોડો રૂપિયાની વાત છે સાહેબ, કરોડો રૂપિયા. એટલે આ 40-50 કરોડનો વાર્ષિક ખર્ચો છે. હું કહું છું આ હું જે ટ્રસ્ટને જાણું છું એમાં 300 કરોડનું કોન્ટ્રીબ્યુશન જાય વર્ષ.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's some refreshments also for everybody. Please don't leave without that. Please have the refreshments.
Some refreshment is there.
Yes.
અને આપણે રિપ્રેઝન્ટેશન આપવા માટે એક નાનું ગ્રુપ પછી
Yes.
લ્યો. So
Yeah, sure. Sure.
we can create some network among us to the
ગઢિયો
minister.
ગઢિયા બીજેપી પ્રોફેશનલનો પ્રેસિડેન્ટ છે ઈ કાટાળેનો. એમાં કઈ અવસરથી પણ
No.
તમારે બીજેપીનો જોતો હોય તો લેવાય.
So we have lots of people, but we need a like-minded લોકો ત્યાં જ આપણે સાથે
Cannot mind. કરીએ.
હા બસ નેક્સ્ટ વીકમાં મળી લેવા. હા મારું કાર્ડ આપો.
પ્રેશર ગામમાં કોઈ બીજી વાર